any barriers that you're facing to people not starting care, time, energy, money, to talk to other people, okay? You want to start to build out through even your day one, okay? And day two, um, talk track. So you want to start building out ways that you're overcoming those road barriers, right? Or those speed bumps so that you're not dealing with the objection on the back end.
Hello, and welcome to Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. This podcast is dedicated to chiropractors who are in the seasons of launching and building their practice. Join myself, Dr. Lona, and my co-host, Dr. Bobby, as we have conversations each week as it relates to building the practice of your dreams. And remember, you can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. We're here to lead you on the way.
What's up, team? Welcome back to the Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast with the fantastically amazing Dr. Lona Cook and myself, Dr. Bobby Lejasovic. Dr. Lona, what's going on? How are we doing?
Hey, Bobby. I'm good. I'm really good. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How's the week been? You've been a busy lady. I know, flying all around the country, speaking in different stages, right? How's your week been? What's the week been in the life of Dr. Lona?
Well, it's been beautiful out here, which I'm in Wisconsin. It's supposed to be cold, but it's not. So got little boys that have been being crazy in the yard and just having fun on the last days of good weather. So it's been good. I've been home.
You guys are getting ready for the winter season now, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if it happens, we'll see. Last year was really weird here too. So maybe like the poles have shifted or something. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Well, if it gets too cold, you can always fly over here to Australia, spend a week here. It's summertime here. It's hot, heating up.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just going to come down there.
It helps a lot, I tell you. So me and my family, we often go to Europe most years. We sometimes try and go every year, sometimes like every second year, and it's just the perfect break for winter. Our
Mm.
winter season here is in the middle of the year, so from about maybe like June to August is probably like the coldest period. So we are always in July, 3, 4 weeks in Europe, soaking up the sun. I'm like a lizard. I get my
Yeah.
sun heat fix. I come back, there's like another month of cold, and then we're rocking and rolling into another summer. It's the best for anyone that needs advice on that.
We did a podcast on taking vacations too. So I highly agree. We're going to Mexico in a few weeks because of that, because we were planning
Nice.
cold weather. So we just are getting
Yeah,
lucky right now. Yeah.
nice. That's awesome. I love it. So, guys, today we're going to be talking about a topic, and this topic was inspired from multiple conversations and trainings that we've had on coaching calls and mastermind recently, which is specific to the conversion process. But to give you some context around it, it came out of a higher level mastermind. So it's a CEO mastermind that I was running, where we had people asking us questions with handling objections and how does each of us handle objections around insurance. So like, all right, hey, I have insurance, right? Can I just use my insurance? And I know in different parts of the world, this all works slightly differently, but there's some huge uniformities around all of it. And the mindset uniformity behind all of it is that you've got a practice member or a potential practice member or a patient that is in their mind thinking that they can pay a lesser amount every single time because their insurance pays a certain amount. So I don't care if you're in the US or Europe or Australia. Lona, is that correct? If I have insurance, that means I can get away in my mind with paying you less, right? Because my insurance is going to pay more for a period of time. Is that correct?
In theory. Yes.
Okay. So what I'm getting at though is that it's the mindset behind it, right? And then what happens after a while, the insurance stops paying. Is that correct, Lona?
Yes. And maybe never would pay because the people think they have benefits they don't have, right? But
I am. All that happens. But either way, what happens in theory is it ends up with the practice member getting a rude shock and therefore in their mind thinking this is going to cost me X amount, but it actually costs me much more than X amount. And then they start questioning their care and they drop out of care. Is that accurate?
right, for sure. If you're not upfront about all of this. Yes.
Exactly. All right. So this is what I mean, guys. So Lona just said something there which I think almost summarizes this episode, right? And if you really just absorb and understand this, you can almost like end it here, but don't end it here because we're going to go in much more deeper detail behind this, right? And that's what she said. And she said, if you don't summarize it there, you said something
I
along the
said if
lines.
you're not upfront. Yeah, upfront.
That's what you said. If you're not upfront, okay, Or in other words, if you don't pre-frame earlier in the process, right? That's the solution to this. So today what I want to talk about on the back of this is conversion mastery. How do you take your conversion process to the next level, wherever you find yourself? How do you start converting not only at a higher rate, but if you understand this concept I'm going to talk to you guys about, and we're going to train with you guys today on the call with, if you don't understand this process, you'll be converting at a less level, but also it'll affect your retention because we know that great retention starts with a proper conversion where somebody starts care for the right reasons with the right intentionality. Okay. And people sometimes ask me, how long does your report of findings take you? Lona, how long does your report of findings take you?
15, 20 minutes, depends on the person.
Yeah, cool. So people sometimes ask me that question, how long does a report of findings take you? And I know there's a lot of talk about like, oh, short report of findings, 5-minute ROF, 10-minute ROF, right? And like, I get it. I'm not here paying anyone out. However, I've done reports before. I think my record is in like 4 minutes. There was this, and he converted. There was this guy who was running super late and he knew that he was late. So literally he came in, he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My team had called him or not. And literally he was the last person. He actually shouldn't have been booked at that point anyway. I had some kind of commitment after. So when he came in, he's like, I'm so sorry. Look, I really want to get my results right. No problem. Even if we can start now, I know I've got 4 minutes. Even if we start now and then I can come back for the second part of the report. So he was late, but he was like a good kind of late. It wasn't like he was like late and like, no, I want to get it now. And, putting up this front. So I took him in the room, okay, and the first thing that I did is I pre-framed to him, and I'm like, Jean-Claude, as you know, super late, right? We've literally got 5 minutes remaining, and I really have to, at 5 minutes, get onto this next commitment, whatever it was that I had, right? So let's get straight to this. And he was like, okay, no problems, all right? So I pre-framed that to him. So it took me like 90 seconds to do what's called a general report, where I was like, when we look at the spine, we know the shapes and the curvatures in the spine are essential, straight from front on, curve from side on. And here's why that's key. Because nervous system. So I did my usual thing. It took me 60 seconds to 90 seconds to just, get him referenced around what a healthy spine should look like. In my office, we review x-rays, okay, as one of the primary tools. So then we literally within 90 seconds, I was like, great, okay, here's your x-ray here. Okay, tell me, what do you see as the first thing? So I went through that process. He told me what's not right, told me what phase he was. Very quickly, we got to talking about, is it correctable? Okay, how long does it take to correct? What exactly does it require? So how many adjustments does he need? Where are his progress exams, progress report, all that kind of stuff? You start adding value in that, right? And then number 4, what's it going to cost me? So agree on the problem, tick, he gets it, he sees it, he agrees on the problem, agree on the goals, agree on the path, which is the time and the energy commitment, and then agree on the plan, which is the financials. It took us like 90 seconds to go through that. And we're now like 3 minutes into a 5-minute report of findings. And it's like, great, any questions for me? Other than that, we're ready to start getting adjusted. And he's like, no, Dr. Bobby, that sounds great. So I'm going to phase this. It's going to take me this long. This is the correct care plan. Great, fantastic, cool. And literally within 5 minutes, he's lying down, got his first adjustment back out to the CA.
Yes,
now,
I love it.
Now, that's not a normal process. But what I'm saying is if you look at what I learned through that, that if you pre-frame to somebody, okay, something, if they're in the right frame of mind, totally, it can be done in 5 minutes. I get that. I'm not contesting that. All right. It's kind of like if you say to me, how long does it take you to do a talk, an outside talk and close a room of people? I could probably close them in 7 minutes, right? And literally of that 7 minutes, 6 of the minutes will be telling a story and 1 minute will be a close. So guys, the reason why you find me here today is because I want to share with you experience that I had that hopefully through that experience, it's going to help you and your life and your family. So one day I woke up and I'm just going story mode, bang, straight, right? And I link the principle of chiropractic in the story, close at the end. So today's a special offer. If you guys want to get yourself, I could do it in 6-7 minutes, don't get me wrong. But if you ask me what's the perfect amount of time, all right? Like if you want to maximize your outcomes, what's the perfect amount of time? For speaking, public speaking, I'd tell you 40 minutes, okay? But for a report of findings, same thing what you just said as well. I would say to you, slow down to take the amount of time that you need. I know that can be done in less time. I'm not contesting that, okay? But I'm telling you, slow down to take the amount of time that you need. For Lona, it's 20 minutes. For others, it's 30 minutes. For others, it's 35 minutes. Because when you do that, you're going to not just convert them to sell them and to get them started. You're actually going to convert them to get them to stay, right? Because retention starts at conversion. So with all of that, I want to talk today about this idea of pre-framing and how in the report of findings, Lona, I know you've heard it. I've heard it. We've all heard it. There is a series of objections that people can give you for not starting care, right? What are some examples of objections that are commonly heard inside of your office or in chiropractic that like, oh, that's a stall objection. I can't start yet.
Definitely money. Money is an objection. Like, oh, I don't think I can afford that, or I can only afford to come one time a week, or my schedule only allows me to get here this amount. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So I'll keep going. Ready? Here's some more objections. Okay, so I just need to think about it. Like that's really good. If I just need to take away to think about it, I don't make decisions on the spot. That's another one that I've heard. I've heard, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just really busy right now. It's just there's so much stuff going on. I'm really busy. Maybe in like a couple of months' time. That's another objection that you might hear. Another common objection that you might hear is, I need to talk to my spouse. This is really good. Look, let me talk to my wife. We make decisions together. That's an objection that you might hear. Hey, can I get a copy of these x-ray scans, posture photos? Because I just want to take this thermal scan to my GP just to get their opinion. My personal favorite, because the GP really knows how to read those scans. GP really knows how to read x-rays too when it comes to the spine, right? But that's okay. We're not going to go there. But the point is, these are common objections that we all hear. All right, Lona?
Yep.
And after a while, hang on, let me rephrase. I used to, in the beginning, think that there's like a million objections. There must be like, I don't know, at least 500 objections you could possibly get. Okay. And then one time I did this study where I surveyed a whole bunch of chiropractors and I asked them exactly what I asked Lona. I said, hey, Lona, can you send me what are the most common objections or what are the objections that you've ever had in a report of findings? Have I told you this story before, Lona?
I don't think so.
Oh, you'll love this. Okay. You'll love it. And I was like, let me see how many we can actually come up with. And so I asked a bunch of cars. When I say a bunch, I must have asked between like 10 to 15, right? So like, tell me like, what are some objections? And I put them all on a piece of paper and then I combined the ones that were the same. So Lona just told me an objection about money and someone else would have said money as well. So I combined that money objection, right? And when I put it all on a piece of paper, guess how many objections there actually was?
3.
Good boy. So there wasn't 3. There was actually 9. However, of the 9, when you put them into categories, they'll put into categories of 4. There was a category of 4, right? And when I say categories, it was usually based around money, right? Usually based around time, usually based around some other person, right? That like they had to consult, GP, mum, dad, brother, sister, wife, husband, right? And then the 4th one was almost like a need to digest. It was like outside of their expectations, right? But there was 4 primary objections that if you know how to handle 4 primary objections, you could basically convert anyone. So what I learned, and this is what I want to give you some tools around today, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well, Lona. I learned that I could either handle objections. So in sales world, when you're selling something, there's always comes a time when you present your offer. That's called your pitch. All right. So when you pitch something, like if I was to pitch you now something, Lona, if I were to pitch you, hey, you know what you should do for your summer holiday? Okay. What's that, Bobby? You've got no idea what I'm going to say to you. And I say, come to Australia for a 2-week holiday. All right. I've just pitched you. Now, anything that happens after this point that you start telling me why, that's an objection. So tell me like why you can't come to Australia in December, Lona.
I would love to. No, I'm just kidding. Because I already have to be at a wedding and I've got to speak in a few different places and I'm just busy.
Gotcha. So that's objections. So I could then look at that and try and do objection management. Again, objection manager would be like, oh, where are you speaking? Okay. And you would tell me, oh, I'm speaking here, I'm speaking there. And I'm like, oh, really? How big is that? Like, how committed are you to that? That'd be objection management, right? And I'd be like, oh, well, I can actually we can get you speaking here. Let's get you speaking here. That'd all be me trying to objection manage you, right? And when you objection manage, so anything after the pitch is objection management. Get that clear. And anything that you're handling after the pitch and objection management, you're in a position of weakness. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Instead, what you want to do is knowing what the common reasons are. Okay. And now, in chiropractic, there's 4 primaries. All right. You want to build that all in your conversion process prior to, and I'm just going to use business language here, the pitch. The pitch is when you're giving them recommendations about time, energy, and money. Okay. So you build prior to that all the objection management before that. And at that point, it becomes what's called a speed hump or a road hump, depending which part of the world you live in. So I know that Lona is going to be speaking in December. So before I pitch her in Australia, I should try and handle that. Hey, Lona, are you speaking anywhere in December? She would
Yeah, I
say to
am. I
me,
have 2 speaking engagements.
what date? Do you know what date that is?
The first 2 weekends in December.
Oh, no way. So you're free after what, like the 12th of December?
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. So I would handle that on the front end. Another example that she gave me was like, oh, she's really, really busy. So I could handle that on the front end. I go, no, December's usually a pretty busy period. Are you like scheduled out? Like, or have you got some free time around December? Or
Second half. Yeah, it's better.
second half. All right. Gotcha. Have you guys got a holiday plan? You going away anywhere?
No, my dad is getting married, so we have to stay here.
Oh, gotcha. And it's essential for you to get to your dad's wedding, right?
Probably, yes.
So I would identify all these things. These are roadblocks, right? Because then it shapes me. And when I give Lona the example, you know what, you guys, do you like summer? Do you like holiday? Do you like beach?
Love it. Yes.
Okay. I have got the best idea for you guys. Here's what you're going to do. After your dad's wedding, and I find out when that date is, okay, you guys got to get to Australia, okay? And I would tie that into, all right, I know that she loves to speak, core value. I know that she loves to teach others and help others, core value. I know that she loves family, core value. I know that she values family time, right, together, core value. Now I've just worked out she loves summer, hot, heat, beach, right? Okay, so I've identified these things, which allows me to put a more compelling offer together with less objections in the back end.
Good. Are you going to ask me if I'm speaking in Australia in the last week of December so I can bring my kids?
Yeah, see? All right, Lona, if you're available, let's get you. There's a big event happening. But you can see now how that would be more compelling for you to say yes to that.
It's good. I'm coming.
All right. So what am I getting at here, guys? What I'm getting at here is when you're doing your conversion process, okay, any barriers that you're facing to people not starting care, time, energy, money, to talk to other people, okay, you want to start to build out through even your day one, okay, and day two, talk track. So you want to start building out ways that you're overcoming those road barriers, right? Or those speed bumps so that you're not dealing with the objection in the back end. Okay. An example of this is in day one, at the end of day one, we say to people, now, Lona, your next visit, your report, we're going to be going through a lot of important information that's critical for you to start to restore your body and get it back on track. To that visit, people love to bring their spouse, significant other along. Is there anyone else that you want to bring to that visit with you? Okay. Now, Lona will say, let's say she says to me, well, actually, I had a lady for a report yesterday. She brought her best friend in because her husband was unavailable, right? Because I could tell with her, and she even said something on the initial consultation to my team about like, oh, she kind of sometimes needs time to process information. All right. So I don't want to get to the report and, all right, that's really good. Let me process it now. So what can help you process that information? Is it somebody else? Yes. Let's get somebody else to come to that visit so they're hearing that information, they can hold you accountable to it. And if somebody says to me, oh, no, that's okay, like I can do it. No, that's fine. My spouse can't do it. We will ask them, great, no problems. Hey, are you able to make decisions about your health moving forward without your spouse? And the key with this is that it all comes from a place of love. Because I can't, that's the honest truth. I would make it with my spouse. So if someone said that to me, I'd say, yeah, good point. Yeah, we make them together. Let's just find a time that works for both of you guys. It'll be much easier. Okay. Or I cannot do that and wait to the report of findings and get the objection and spouse, and then I'm going to do objection management mode and chase that person if that's what your protocol is. Okay. If I've got someone on day one that I'm already seeing that they're saying things like, oh, that they are time poor, I'm just so busy, you know, time poor, I'm time poor. Okay, that could be a potential objection that I get to when I give them a schedule of care. So what do? I handle that speed hump on the front end. Cool. Hey, Lon, I've got a question for you. I know that you're a super busy lady. How much of a priority is this for you? Okay. Is this a now thing? Is this an urgency to get it corrected so that you can continue to be busy and keep, flying around the world and the country and speaking?
So good.
Cool. And if I have to, guys, if I'm not like getting clarity, I'll go even deeper with someone like Lona and like later on in the consult as she's kind of gotten more curiosity and more emotionally engaged. I'll even say to her, right, like, hey, Nate, what's going on is what I think is going on. And I'm 90% sure at this stage, we just need, X, Y, Z to confirm. The good news is, yes, you can correct that, right? However, here's what it requires. And I'll already give you like a small high level view look at what that requires. How many times a week, right? What the commitment looks like. Because then it gives you time between now and the report, i.e., the pitch, okay, to justify why you should be doing it rather than justifying why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, we do something similar where we give them a little of the what's coming in the report to start to, especially if they have a personality that is like, go, 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 tell me, tell me, tell me. We're gonna like build curiosity, not give them all of it, but like certainly want them to like kind of know what's coming.
Yep, exactly right. So conversion mastery tools, guys. Here's the tool. The tool is, do you want to handle objections or do you want to overcome barriers? My suggestion is to overcome barriers, knowing that those are the four primary barriers through your day one and through the first part of your day two process, so that when you get to the presentation of your care plan, right, and what's required to restore their body and get their health back on track, any objections they might have were actually handled through the process on the front end, rather than now it's a new thing that's popped up and we're going to do objection management, i.e., problem whack-a-mole crisis care.
And I want to just say, like, Bobby, what you did there, getting outside of chiropractic, where you're like, come on this trip. Let's talk about why you couldn't come on this trip, right? Go back and re-listen to that, because we get so in our chiropractic brain sometimes that we forget like what we're doing is just trying to listen in and hear what could be challenges and then address those, like actually have a conversation about them, but do it in a way where we're proactive with it versus like, well, I think this might be a problem, but hopefully don't bring it up. It's like, just go back and re-listen to that, because I think that just shows where like really it's just a transparent conversation. We're really just having a good communication over what does this person need to do to build their health back. And if it's a priority to them and they've said certain things that they really value, you build that in so that you're stacking your chips to help them make a good decision, right? Like that's really the game we're in.
100%. And guys, you all did this as children. Lona, I bet you did this as a child. I'll get it. When you're going to ask mom and dad for something, okay? And there's the right time to ask, there's the right way to frame it up, there's the right kind of way to deliver it. Like for years, I wanted, at the time, it was a Nintendo 64. All right. I remember Nintendo 64. I wanted it. My friends had it. My dad was like anti any gaming stuff, which thank God that he was. Because, yeah, in his mind, there was nothing positive about that. So I remember I'm trying with one of my friends to frame up like how do I present it to him, and I know that he was passionate, about me doing well in school and reading and completing my school, and I'm trying to position it about how will this help me be more engaged when it comes to school and completing my homework, right? And so we came up with this theory. My friend came up with this theory about like, oh, well, it's such a good vent away from like everyday life that you'll be more happy and satisfied. And so then you're more likely to do homework, right? And I was like, yeah, that could be an angle. And I asked him this question. Are there any games on Nintendo 64 that are like educational in nature? Where, I don't know, like it has like, I don't know, mathematical problems or like English problems and they've made it fun for Nintendo. So my mind is trying to think, how do I approach my dad and position it in a way that I know his objections are going to be, I don't want you addicted to that thing. I don't want you being stuck on it for hours on end. You're not learning anything through that. You're just being a zombie. So I'm trying to work out on the front end, what are things that I can build into my pitch that's going to help him go, you know what, Bob, let's get you that Nintendo.
You're killing me. This is funny and so true. Great.
You've got boys, right, Lena?
I'm like, I hope Jack never listens to this episode.
I'm telling you, this is what's coming down the pipeline. We're a family of boys, all right? We had like 15 boys in a row in my family, so this is what's coming down the pipeline. Like, I'm readying you for it.
Aware.
But that's my mindset around it. And I bet you that you did similar things when you asked your parents, can I go to a party? I know they're not going to want me to go to that party. I'm 14 years old. You're going to position it in like the mum's going to be there, the parents are going to be there. The parents are lovely. I've known this person for a long time. There's no alcohol. These are all the things that you're leading up, knowing that they're the objections that are on your parents' mind.
I should have done that. Yep. Yeah.
So what I want you to know is that you're pros at this already. You've been doing it your whole life. Just do it now in chiropractic.
That's great. I love it. Re-listen to this. This is good. And I love when we get outside of our chiropractic like brains for a little bit to just like real life experience. How do you like approach what we're trying to do? Don't make it so heady some of the time.
Yep. Spot on, spot on. All right, any thoughts, Lona? I know that I've spoken a lot in today's episode, right? Any thoughts, anything you want to add to that, any insights?
You're a master at this, of bringing people in and converting them. So I just like listening, and I love your analogies. Those were awesome.
So here's what I want you to do, guys. Takeaway from today's episode, okay? Here's what I want you to think about with your next day one. It starts on day one. Don't rush through a day one. Don't do this like, I'll just get day one done, 5-10 minutes. I get it. You can do it in 5, all right? You can do a report in 5. What's the perfect amount of time? Day one is about creating connections, understand the person in front of you, extrapolate core values, what's important to that person. For my dad, core values, school, study, learning, right? Not polluting my child, core values. So that's what's important to him. So extrapolate these things. Already be able to anticipate what are the objections. Remember, there's 4 primary ones, all right? They all come down to 4 primary ones. And so that way, when you're going through your day 2 process, you can handle all of those, not objections, but at that point, they're speed humps. Navigate the speed humps so that when you get to the point that you give the recommendation, time, energy, and money, any objections that may pop up have actually already been handled. Okay. That example that I gave of a spouse to report of findings, if somebody at the end of the report of findings, like if I said to you, like, oh, no, I can do it my own, no problems. And then tomorrow at the report, I say, hey, I need to talk to my wife first. I'm out of integrity. Now, I know personally, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say to you as an objection tomorrow, I've got to talk to my wife. If I told you yesterday that I can make decisions without her, right? So I know that is off the table. So, but if you hadn't addressed that on day one, I could then bring that to the table, right? And be like, oh, this is really good information. Thank you so much. I just need some time away to think about this and talk to my wife. All right. So the question you should ask yourself after today's episode is, do I want to deal with road humps, speed humps, or do I want to handle objections? If you want less objections, then overcome the speed humps on the front end. And believe me, your conversion process will start to become so much smoother, so much more streamlined, and so much more easy. And at the end of the day, people who start care, okay, we can only help the ones who start care. So your job is to convert everyone and get them under chiropractic care, which is a healthy way forward for them.
Yep. Great episode, Bobby. Thank you for that.
All right, love it. All right, team, I'll let you guys rock and roll. If you enjoyed today, please give us a 5-star review. We love all your reviews coming in, and it helps us a lot to get out to more chiropractors and help more people build remarkable offices. Lona, thank you so much, and we'll catch you guys next week.
See you soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, please click the links in the show notes to schedule a call.